Yay, let me see.
Are we live? Are we live? Hello, folks, if you can indeed see us. Oh, we are live. Hello, all
Look at
zero of you.
that. Send it out to Adam real quick.
Hello, my three friends. Hello, three people. You're the best three people in the whole world, I promise. Welcome, welcome. Smash the like button. We have a great show for you.
Now,
Eric, James, hello.
do we know how to send out the new text?
We
No.
do.
Okay, maybe we should do that. Just saying.
Oh, should we? Was I already, did I already have the page open?
No,
And before we went live, did I already tell you that I was doing that?
okay, look at that.
Oh,
Yeah, forgot. I mean, in my old age of forgetting.
interesting. Oh, it
My
was
old age.
like a minute, like less than a minute ago. So it's kind of weird that you forgot, but just saying.
I need a haircut. Let me know if this sound is okay. Let me know if the sound is okay because we've had a lot of, not a lot, but um, we did some audio things. I think it's okay now, but you, the people, will have to tell me.
You, the people.
1212, status coup in the house, Monday, June 7th, 2021. Hope everybody had a lovely weekend and staying safe out there. Jordan and Jen, we broke another story, Jen, on Substack, which
Jordan did. Jordan, this is amazing. This is so great. People are sending you crazy good stuff from this Staten Island warehouse reporting.
But I got to tell you, I don't think our members, are all our people watching, have signed up yet for our Substack, even for free.
What? How could you guys
We
not
need
sign up yet?
whatever. So we need to get everybody signing up because free members, obviously, we would love if you could sign up paid too. Paid subscribers get a couple other perks, but free members, the bigger our list goes up of free members too, it somehow ends up helping us get seen, I think, on Substack too. Am I making that up, Jen? Or
I didn't hear what you said, but you would never make anything up. So,
I was saying
above all,
the more free subscribers we have to Substack, it helps us get seen on Substack. Correct?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how their algorithm works. I don't know if they have an algorithm that is generated by AI. I don't know, to be honest. But I do know that the more exposure we have, the better, certainly. Above all things, Jen Cam shaking. It's because I'm typing. I'm sending out the text right now. I'm going to send an email. YouTube we say it all the time, suppressing us. So I'm going to be, Jen Cam will be shaking as I type. I'm in a little tiny, you guys don't even know how tiny this desk is that I have in this little corner of my room. It's about this big. So that's why it's shaking. Yeah, so Beauty and the Diabetes. The new texts that you get from us are from much longer. We lost our 370370. It doesn't exist anymore. Telecoms companies, let's just say corrupt. So we lost that. We can't afford to have a short code anymore, which means that smaller number. And we now have these long, regular sized numbers, but that's okay.
How much did this criminal text messaging company want us to charge us to keep a short code?
It's it's over $1,000 a month or something like that. Love JJ, thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna go over the DC reporting and the FOP stuff today for sure. Yeah, it was a lot of money, and I can't blame the text company too much because it's they're passing on the costs that came down to them to us. So we're going to use other methods. For example, if you go to statuscoup.com right now, you'll see a new push notification pop up as you do on other news sites. So now we have one, but ours is much cooler because I put a personalized message in there, status coup style, and you guys can simply click yes to get a push notification from us whenever we have breaking news, when we go live, whatever it is. So pop over there. It's even easier than entering in a code into your phone or whatever. So open up a new tab, go to statuscoup.com and click yes to the push notification. It won't work with Safari quite yet, but only Jordan uses Safari, so it doesn't matter. No, we will get Safari working, and we have an app in the works that will allow you to get push notifications, etc. So we're expanding our ability to notify you beyond YouTube, YouTube as Jordan calls it. So that is that. All right, let me get back to sending this text.
So what that means is go to statuscoup.com right now. You'll get a push alert, push alerts. Press the push alert. That way you'll get notifications from the website. It's working in Chrome, I think Firefox, Safari. We'll figure it out. So quite a lot to get to today, Jen. And I'll tell you, most people don't know this, but before I did video, before I ever was on camera or anything, my passion has always been writing. Actually, my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Zickerman, God bless her, I hope she's still alive, she told my mother that I should be a presidential speechwriter because in 5th grade, I was writing, I guess, writing assignments. I was writing political shit, and I was, I guess, a good writer. So I'm so excited about the Substack because, you know, it allows me to flex those writing muscles and also, you know, break investigative stuff and just do kind of video rants in written form. So everybody's got to sign up for the Substack, and we got another great piece on the Substack that I broke a little while ago that actually shows Jen independent in the field reporting could actually, even little small crumbs of change, could actually apply pressure to corporate vultures to get them to do the right thing. So I went to Amazon Staten Island warehouse last week. As you know, Amazon did extreme, by the way, smash that like button. We're very suppressed, so I need every single person press the like button right under the live stream. Share the live stream. In addition, we will ask you also post on your social media, custom posts on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, just saying Status Coup Live. We really need to depend on you to notify the public that we exist, because literally every platform at this point is throttling us and other independent media channels. So please, please, please smash the like buttons, comments, all that stuff. So I went there last week, and this was fresh off the Bessemer union busting, which Amazon was very successful in illegal activities, which the union that was behind Bessemer is already suing, is already filed with the Labor Relations Board to basically have a revote. So fresh off of that, workers in New York are unionizing at the Staten Island warehouse. The Staten Island warehouse has gotten media attention because that's where Christian Smalls, who is the original Amazon whistleblower who got fired by Amazon in the beginning of the pandemic last year, because he got fired at that warehouse for the crime of trying to organize workers to ask Amazon to create safe conditions during a deadly pandemic. Now, move forward a year later, I went out there last week because they have a pretty aggressive union drive going on there. New York, pretty different than Alabama. 22% of New York workers are unionized. Now, for America's standards, that's one of the top unionization rates in the country. You know, in the 60s or 70s, that would be low. But right now, 22% of a state's workers unionized is pretty significant. So these workers are outside the Amazon warehouse. They are have a tent, and they are right near a busy bus stop, which drops off Amazon workers who are coming in for their shifts, and workers leaving hop on the bus. So it was a great place for them to be, to talk to workers, to try and get them to sign union cards, to try and dispel the myths that Amazon has been pushing about unionization. And for their trouble, as soon as they had a barbecue that was very successful in the beginning of May, they got hundreds of people, hundreds of workers to show up. And what happened? Amazon literally built a fence. I shit you not. Amazon built a fence surrounding where the tent was to try and basically force the organizers to move back further away from the bus. The fence had, I'm not kidding, beware of dog signs. I don't know if the union organizers are the dogs. or and they also had private property signs, even though it was on a public sidewalk. Now, that was outside. As we showed you on our Substack last week, the signs inside, I mean, propaganda is like a nice way of saying it. I mean, if you go to our Substack, that's statuscoup.substack.com, you'll see the piece we did last week, which showed you all the signs that Amazon has put up throughout the warehouse. Essentially, it's almost like the Fox News playbook. You know, the immigrants are going to come to your home. All these crazy signs. Know the facts. Don't be misled. Just ridiculous signs. So we wrote about that. Know before you sign, as you could see here, and a lot of it's just completely not factual at all. So we wrote about it on our Substack, which we just started. So please sign up. We would love you to become paid, but if you can't, you can sign up for free too. So please, if you're not in a position to support us financially on Substack, please just sign up for free so we could grow our numbers there. The link right here. Let me get the link.
Statuscoup.substack.com.
Yes, and share it with others. So I was told today, I was reached out by an Amazon worker. They must be reading your articles because they took down a lot of the signs. So I'm going to read from the story, Colin, that we wrote today. We were there. I was there last Wednesday. I think I wrote a piece Thursday or Friday. So relatively quickly, for some reason, Amazon started taking down the signs. Here's the headline. After Status Coup exposed them, Amazon takes down union-busting signs in New York warehouse. After Status Quo's report last week exposing Amazon's all-out bombardment of anti-union signs throughout its Staten Island JFK 8 warehouse, Status Quo has learned Amazon has taken down a significant amount of the union-busting signs near workstations, break rooms, on televisions, and near the receiving deck. Quote, I think they read your article, a warehouse worker told us. In one example, a TV that was displaying anti-union messaging was blank with the caption deleted. So I don't know what message was up on there, but we had shown you a lot of the messages on those TVs were anti-union messages, talking about how don't be misled, know your facts, almost like beware of the vests, because the union organizers are wearing yellow vests outside. So that's just one example deleted on the TV screen. Let me read a little bit more from the Substack piece. Again, sign up to our Substack. Quote, the only flyers left are still in the bathrooms. Yes, they have flyers in the bathrooms. I don't see any flyers on the tables either, the worker added. The worker added that the remaining signs still up are, quote, repeating the less aggressive verbiage that we saw 1 month ago. I guess they're toning it down. So not only did they take down a lot of the signs, but the signs that are up seem to be less aggressive, not warning about people coming to your homes, and all this stuff. An Amazon source told Status Quo some of the signs Amazon took down were messages, and this is how you know this wasn't edited by Jenn because she was busy because I already misspelled something. An Amazon source told Status Quo some of the signs Amazon took down were messages aimed at planting seeds of doubt in workers about the Congress of Essential Workers, a group started by Amazon whistleblower Christian Smalls, who was fired by Amazon at the beginning of the COVID pandemic for organizing workers against the company's unsafe working conditions. The taken down anti-TCOEW signs had claimed that the group had a lack of financial accountability. It also aimed to group the current Staten Island workers attempting to unionize, who formed a group called Amazon Labor Union, with the Congress of Essential Workers, which is made up of workers fired from Amazon. They're not connected, but Amazon wants to link the current workers with Christian Smalls' group. Christian Smalls said, I guess they figured it wasn't gaining any tractions, he told us, about the signs bashing his group being taken down on the allegations of financial shenanigans of Smalls groups. He had previously said, we used all donations to organize them all year. They seem to have forgot that. As Amazon took down a significant amount of its union busting signage, workers also received a text message and email today highlighting what the company presented as its strong benefits package workers receive on day one. Absent from this is paid sick leave, if you didn't notice that, Jen. And I have a story coming out that will show you their claims about paying disability, not so accurate. Not so accurate. As we previously reported, Amazon, fresh off its allegedly illegal union busting campaign in Alabama, has aggressively targeted organizing efforts by current and former Staten Island workers stationed daily outside the warehouse near a busy bus stop that traffics Amazon workers coming and going from work. After a May 4th barbecue in which ALU union organizers were able to attract hundreds of workers, Amazon put up a chain link fence with beware of dog and private property signs across it around the bus stop and tent where union organizers are stationed daily, attempting to talk to workers and get them to sign union cards. The fence forced the ALU organizers to move further away from the high traffic bus stop. Still, ALU organizers say they've gotten hundreds of workers to sign union cards. Inside the warehouse, Amazon had also put up a barrage of anti-union signs near workstations, in break rooms, bathrooms, and TVs around the warehouse. Quote, "We have been bombarded with misinformation and lies for the past month in the bathroom, break rooms, at the entrance." Amazon's JFK Staten Island worker, Natalie Monarez, told us last week. And there you could see some of the signs that have been up. Know before you sign. Make sure you know the facts before you decide whether or not to sign a union card. Don't be fooled by the vest. Oh boy, that sounds kind of nefarious. Union representatives are approaching associates wearing Amazon vests to mislead you into thinking they represent or speak for Amazon. Don't be fooled by this. Okay. Another don't be misled sign. Get the facts about ALU. Know the facts. I mean, all day if you have to be bombarded by this. Remember, a lot of these workers are frankly teenagers. Well, not teenagers, but like late teens, early 20s, mid 20s. So I don't want to call them, I'm not saying that they're not smart, but it's easy with this level of propaganda to kind of buy into it and say, oh, I'm not going to mess with those union organizers out there. I don't want to get in trouble. And this is what they did.
Yeah, it's less life experience.
Right. So basically, Jen, listen, have we taken down Amazon? No. But I'll take good news any day of the week. As far as I know, we're the only ones that reported all those signs that were in the Amazon warehouse that were out there talking to the workers last week. I don't think they just took down the large majority of them out of kindness. It seems like, I know Amazon follows my Twitter based on the story I broke a couple months ago about Pashan Brown, who was the 38-year-old Amazon worker who suddenly dropped dead after Amazon had her literally playing doctor, administering COVID nasal swabs to her coworkers for months, even though she had no medical training. And she had no business, neither did Amazon workers, testing other workers. They should have hired nurses and doctors. I don't think Amazon's poor. So they definitely follow my Twitter. They might be following our Substack now. So I'm happy that, at the very least, at least they took down some of the signs. That by no means means they're done with their union busting campaign. I have another story that will be out this week about consultants they've been using. And you will not, to go into the warehouse, pull workers aside, and you will not believe the things that they are saying to Amazon workers about the workers trying to unionize, including racist statements. So step in the right direction, but let's not kid ourselves that Amazon is done trying to bash this union.
Yeah, I'm certain they're not done by any means. It's probably the case that they're re-strategizing. I mean, the fact that they're willing to put a beware of dogs sign out there is, comic book level evil, ridiculous. It's absurd. And they will stop at nothing. To think that they're just going to go away is obviously not a thing that we think. But we're not going to stop. And Jordan's been doing great work on this and, developing good relationships with these folks who are on the ground fighting this every single day, fighting against the propaganda, fighting against the insanity. You guys remember what's been happening, or what happened at Bessemer, the stuff that has come out about that. Amazon literally had illegal USPS boxes for these votes that were allegedly tampered with, according to testimony from a worker that, who saw Amazon folks or security guards tampering off hours with votes. And then votes came in bulk at certain points. So there are a lot of signs pointing in Bessemer to some shenanigans going on, to put it mildly. So we'll see what happens in Bessemer. And as you saw, hopefully you saw, with Chris Smalls, he said they're not going to let, celebrities take this over. They're not going to let anybody but the actual workers handle the union organizing in Staten Island. This is about the workers. This is for the workers. And no one is going to, come in and take this in any other direction but where the workers want it to go in. They're rightly cautious of anyone, really, because there are saboteurs out there. There are, things going on that aren't right, and there always have been. Union busting is nothing new. And yeah, it's not shocking, I guess. We know what kind of company Amazon is. We know what kind of person Jeff Bezos is. But you still have to kind of a beware of dog sign, really. It's still, unbelievable.
And reminder, folks, I want to get you in that habit. Go to statuscoup.live right now. Statuscoup.live. Jenn has done a remake of that page. We want you to go there while you're watching too. You could keep the YouTube open and go there, whatever floats your boat. It is a one-stop shop. We really need your support. Jenn, they take less money than YouTube. So, super chats are welcome if you want, but donating there to support this reporting really makes a big difference. We need all the help we could get. We're trying to plan a reporting trip right now to interview folks facing evictions at the end of the month, to interview folks facing premature loss of their unemployment, to interview folks just economically screwed while the media pretends, everything's dandy now as the pandemic's over. Just interview real people about the economic apocalypse happening to them that the media is ignoring. So please, if you can, statuscoup.live. We'll give you shout outs as you donate. I also wanted to make the point, Jenn.
But hold on, before you move past this wonderful page. No, we'll be adjusting and adding things to this page. It's actually kind of fun because this page is run through Streamlabs itself, and the page is dynamic. So there are things we can do, adding different Twitch functionality to it, adding, Twitter functionality and YouTube functionality. So right now the statuscoup.live page is set up to show you when we're live. It's set up to show you the YouTube live us eventually in the end fully. Then we can just quickly switch it out and show you Twitch or whatever. So get used to and bookmark this page, statuscoup.live. So we're encouraging you to please go to that page and support us. There's a donation box quite near the top, and you can support us there at any amount. You can do so. It's set up right now 3 different ways. PayPal is there. You can use PayPal. You can use your credit card, debit card, whatever. And then there's a third way as well. It's a method that I wasn't familiar with before. Maybe you guys are. Apparently a lot of videographers and documentarians and stuff use this other method, whatever. But it's flexible for you, and it takes less money from us than Super Chats. We love Super Chats. Do keep those coming. But I do want you to know that Super Chats, YouTube takes 30% of the money from that. So statuscoup.live, we have real needs for reporting in the field. And on this upcoming eviction, the ending of the eviction moratorium, Uh, call- I'm seeing on a delay that's Colin's typing in cute stuff in the donation box. So we have the cost of hotel rooms and gas and food and the live view streaming costs and all of that. It all adds up, but this is so important. We're also going to be doing some really important, really hard-hitting reporting on Joe Manchin, which you've seen him in the news. He's seemingly the only one there who's willing to be a true pain in the ass and force his way into doing, aka forcing the vote, willing to force his way into doing what he wants, and in a way that others aren't, in a way that progressives aren't. And so, in any case, there's so much corruption and just awfulness surrounding Joe Manchin. So, reporting on him, reporting on what's going on in West Virginia, reporting on the working class, reporting on these GOP governors like my own, Larry Hogan, who is ending unemployment early. It's disgusting. There's so much happening with the people of this country, and Status Quo is going to be there showing you what's going on. But we need your help to go on this reporting tour, which in the next week and a half, we plan to go on, hitting the road. So if we know times are tough right now, but if you can help us at any amount, please do. And know that we will bring you the style of reporting that you have come to know and love from Status Quo. So go to statusquo.live and you can help us with that donation box, or GoFundMe.com/status. No. Yes, GoFundMe.com/status quo. And I just saw that Jean Zyback has just supported us, and my app will not show me. So thank you so much, Jean, for your support through GoFundMe. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, thank you. And no, Jordan does not live in Maryland. I do. Our company is based out of New York. Assura, is the site clean? No cyber attacks. Our sites are all clean, all clean, all clean. Our sites were never a danger to you, never. What Assura is referring to is when our site was attacked, basically it was an effort to de-link our membership software from our payment system so that our payments wouldn't go through. We don't have access to anyone's payment info, nothing like that. That's not how it works. So it's called webhooks. So basically the person attacked us in order so that we couldn't have payments coming through, which is, I have a lot of words for what that is, but in no way has anyone's information, anyone's financial information, anyone's anything been at risk. So no, everything's totally fine. So go to statusquo.live. We have a great web team, statusquo.com. Everything's totally fine. We appreciate you. Linear Bob, Jen, the text blast you send out should link to the page you want us to come to. It does. Every time, Bob, it does. I wanted you to come to this page where we're live right now, and here you are. So, yes. So thank you so much, guys. We also have a Cash App, $status quo. All right, smash the like button, share this stream, people power.
Absolutely.
Right, that's my spiel.
So
I have a lot of words for what that is.
I wanted to also point out on this Amazon story, part of why Amazon gets away with bloody murder, like these, putting up a fence outside, where the union organizers are trying to get people to sign union cards, putting all like this bombardment, this all-out assault of propaganda inside the warehouse, is because the media is more interested in covering Jeff Bezos is going to space. Did you hear, Jen? Jeff Bezos is going to space.
Leave him there. Leave him there.
So the media is all ablaze today because Jeff Bezos will be flying to space on the first crewed flight of the new Shepard, the rocket ship made by his space company. So we need to cover Jeff Bezos' vanity so he could be a little fake astronaut. But we shouldn't cover that Amazon is literally attacking its workers with nonstop propaganda while putting up commercials depicting them as, a wonderful place to work, rainbows and sunshine. It's absurd. And this is the media propaganda. And remember, the media was late to covering the Bessemer, Alabama story. I mean, they covered it in the final weeks, but they weren't covering it like in the early days as Amazon began its union busting there. Just like the larger media isn't touching the union busting going on in Staten Island. So it's kind of ridiculous. I wonder why they're not covering it. Go look at Amazon's advertisements on MSNBC, CNN. I've seen it in Politico and other places. Just a thought. Maybe that's why Amazon isn't covered critically. The Washington Post. It's interesting because I send my DM. I send the Substack stories we've been doing to like Dave Weigel and other Washington Post reporters. They don't share these ones. They share other things, but not negative stories about Amazon. So that's interesting. It's definitely going to be a battle. I'm going to continue covering what's going on at Staten Island. I'll probably go there, from time to time to speak with organizers, go live, get updates on the union busting. But it's an important story because honestly, I don't want to overpromise the audience anything, but if the organizers expressed to me that they learned some lessons from the failures of Bessemer, it seems to me their ideas are smart. It seems to me that New York is better ground anyway. My dad calling again while I'm live. New York is better ground anyway for union organizers because, like I said, New York is 22% organized. That's, I think, top one or two ranked union percentage for workers in the country. Alabama was 8%. So it's a strong union state. It could be stronger. We have basically a Republican governor in Andrew Cuomo and a Republican senator in Chuck Schumer and, wastes like Kirsten Gillibrand. But Amazon will have a more difficult time busting in New York. Not that they're not going to try, but I also, have been told that the National Labor Relations Board, which nationally doesn't really have teeth, but state to state, they have their own, state level of the NLRB. They don't like Amazon. They don't like Amazon in New York. So we're going to stay on it, Jen, but I'm really happy that at the very least, a small step was them taking down some of these signs. We'll just have to stay on them to see what's next. First defense. Now see what happens next. So
yeah, very interesting to say the least.
And thank you for the super chat. Swirly Swirl, $10. Amazon is building a facility in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they had the Fort Wayne City Council sign NDAs to keep their name out of the news. They got criminally cheap land and $16 million in tax breaks. Swirly Swirl, send us that information if you can. If you have a little bit more, info@statuscoup.com. Info@statuscoup.com. Want to know more about that? So. Keep smashing the like button. Share this live stream, statuscoup.live. Get there now. Want to move on, Jen, to the Democrats, apparently Third Way, and other right-wing Wall Street-funded groups that pretend to be centrist and the media pretend are centrist. I guess they did an autopsy, even though Biden won. They did an autopsy of the 2020 election. And shocker, it's raising alarm bells. Raising alarm bells. This is from the New York Times. Colin, if you could bring that up. The headline, Democrat report raises 2022 alarms on messaging and voter outreach. Oh, if only messaging and voter outreach were the core problem. Democrats defeated President Trump and captured the Senate last year with a racially diverse coalition that delivered victories by tiny margins in key states like Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin. In the next election, they cannot count on repeating that feat. A new report warns. A review of the 2020 election conducted by several prominent Democratic advocacy groups has concluded that the party is at risk of losing ground with Black, Hispanic, and Asian American voters unless it does a better job presenting an economic agenda and countering Republican efforts to spread misinformation and tie all Democratic candidates to the far left. The far left. The 73-page report was assembled at the behest of three major Democratic interest groups: Third Way, a centrist think tank. It's not a centrist think tank. It's a Wall Street-funded propaganda farm. And the Collective PAC and the Latino Victory Fund, which promotes Black and Hispanic candidates. I'm going to go further down. In part, the study found Democrats fell short of their aspirations because many House and Senate candidates failed to match Joseph Biden's support with voters of color who loathed Mr. Trump but distrusted the Democratic Party as a whole. So I want to zero in on that part, Jen. So the New York Times, or the report, thinks that one of the problems was House and Senate candidates couldn't match Biden's support with voters of color who loathe Mr. Trump. But that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what happened, because they weren't supporting Joe Biden. Like, they voted for him, but they weren't supporting Joe Biden because of some grand economic vision or because they believed in specific policies. They would have voted for a paper bag to get rid of Trump. I mean, that was the whole game. So this report seems to think that the Senate and congressional candidates just failed to match the support for Biden, when in reality, Biden's support was a mirage in the first place. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Biden's support is manufactured. He is, as we all know and remember, not doing so well before everybody in the primary dropped out and coalesced around him. And Bernie Sanders was essentially forced to drop out. And we all recall, the devastating devastating for Bernie Sanders supporters, at least. And here we are with Kamala Harris as VP and Joe Biden as president, neither of which were widely wanted in the Democratic primary. And yet they're the leaders of our country. And so, yes, I agree with your assessment to compare support to the support of Joe Biden among people of color is just a false start.
Right. Want to continue. Overall, the report warns Democrats in 2020 lacked a core argument.
Everything okay? I can't hear anybody.
Can't hear me?
Okay.
Can't hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Is Jordan gone?
I'm not gone.
Can they hear Jordan? Okay.
You don't hear me, Jen? 1 2 1 2. You don't hear me, Jen?
I guess she doesn't. He's trying to talk.
Why wouldn't she hear me? Okay. So let me see here. They lacked an economic message. A core argument about the economy and recovering from the coronavirus pandemic, one that might have helped candidates repel Republican claims that they wanted to, quote, keep the economy shut down. The party, quote, leaned too heavily on anti-Trump rhetoric. Quote, win or lose, self-described progressive or moderate, Democrats consistently raised a lack of strong Democratic Party brand as a significant concern in 2020, the report states. In the absence of strong party branding, the opposition latched onto GOP talking points, suggesting our candidates would burn down your house and take away the police. So this is obviously a bunch of nonsense. First of all, and they did this in 2016, that it was really about the messaging. It was really about the messaging, the lack of economic messaging. Well, you can't have strong economic messaging if you're not offering strong economic policies. People are no longer stupid. People read the internet, social media, look into candidates, more thoroughly. So Biden didn't have an economic message. His economic message was restore the soul of the nation and all this. On the economy, he was against Medicare for all, which would help the economy. He said he was for a $15 minimum wage, but we've seen how that turns out. Didn't say much on, raising wages, didn't say much on nothing on a universal basic income, guaranteed jobs, nothing really economic. So sure, you were going to get your voters that only cared about Trump and wanted to get rid of Trump, but you weren't going to get voters that actually needed to hear more on the economy. And because on the state and local level, the Democratic Party wasn't proposing anything economic, nothing populist, that's for sure. On the state and local level, Democrats lost in the House a lot of seats that they didn't expect to lose. They lost in the Senate a lot of seats. They narrowly took back control of the Senate, but they lost a lot of seats. So it's not rocket science. If you were for policies that are popular among progressives, among the entire spectrum, progressives, even centrists, a lot of Republicans are supporting raising the minimum wage, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, you would have crushed Donald Trump, and more Democrats would have won on the state and local level. So that's the reality of what's going on here. That's the reality of what's going on here. I hope. Does Jen hear me now or no?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So that's the reality of what's going on. It's not that they have no message. It's that they have no policies that they could send messages about. And even now, what is their economic message? We temporarily gave you some temporary relief. They're not halting evictions. They're not doing anything to actually structurally increase wages. The wages now are basically the short-term wage going up is because people have had unemployment benefits, so they don't have to go back to shitty jobs right away. As soon as you see those unemployment benefits go away, we'll be back to crap wages. So it's kind of not too difficult. It's not too difficult to figure out what's going on. But again, this is what the Democratic Party thinks. It's that they have no message rather than they should change their policies. Jen.
Go ahead without me for a second.
Okay. So, to me, on one end, for the Democratic Party, it's a good thing. I mean, I don't particularly care if they win in the midterms. We see what they're doing now. But at least they're recognizing, the Biden win is kind of a sugar high. There's problems underneath the hood. But the problem is they don't seem to be doing anything to actually create an economically popular brand. They're not doing anything like he's abandoned the public option. He's abandoned the $15 minimum wage. His infrastructure bill seems dead on arrival. And the infrastructure bill, honestly, is not, to me, the highest priority in Americans' minds. He's doing nothing on the Green New Deal. As we're going to show you soon, they are not doing anything on these pipelines that are destroying the climate and Native American reservations. He's not really doing anything economically. They're just doing the same that they've done, which is unemployment, stimulus checks, which are all temporary, and it's ending soon. So there's nothing structural that Biden is offering. And on the Democratic House level, they're really pushing voting rights bills, which are good. But people, I can't stand James Carville, but once upon a time, he was right about something. It's the economy, stupid. People, in large part, vote with their wallets. And the Democratic Party hasn't offered anything, basically, I don't know, since the 1960s. So, yeah, I think that this autopsy is good, but from what I see, I don't see, they might recognize the problem, but I don't actually see them doing anything to change it. The messaging so far ahead of the midterms in fundraising emails and all this has been how heinous Marjorie Taylor Greene is. True. how Donald Trump is still a threat, how Republicans are, threatening democracy, even though we don't have a democracy. I'm not seeing any economic message for the Democrats. And, they deserve what they get, which will probably be a wipeout in 2022. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't really couldn't really follow what you were talking about. I don't know if I'm still echoing. It doesn't make any sense at all what's happening with the audio because nothing changed at all. I think I am echoing. So let me echo this. Let me echo to you folks that thank you so much, Lana Dell, for the $25 donation and GoFundMe. We really, really appreciate you. And let me echo the incredible statuscoup.live support from, let me see, from Lynn. Thank you. Lynn saying, you guys and gals are doing a great job. Thank you so much. And we also, we have a new patron. Welcome to Dan, who pledged $7 via Patreon. That's right. We have a Patreon. We don't often push it. It does offer the same thing as our website membership, which is at statuscoup.com/join. But we love our patrons, and that is at patreon.com/statuscoup. And I believe, let's see, Colin did text it to me. One second. Justin, thank you so much, Justin, for the statuscoup.live support. We really appreciate it. Keep it coming, folks. We do need that support to go on this incredible in-field reporting trip. And yeah, you guys remember the in-field reporting trip we went on last July. It was so impactful and so important. And this one is going to mean so much. People are really struggling. In some cases, it's hovering around 50% of folks that are having trouble paying their rent. And when that moratorium ends, all hell's going to break loose. And any support that might be coming, some states are saying, hey, we're going to help people whose unemployment is ending. If they get a job, we're going to reward them even more. We might give them a $1,000 bonus check. Well, guess what? In certain cases, to get that bonus check, they have to get a job that pays less than $25 an hour. And then they have to work a bunch of hours at that low paying job in order to even get that bonus. So we'll be reporting on things like that and give you more details on things like that. So please help us do this reporting. We simply cannot do it without you. We're going to multiple states, and it's going to be devastating. We're going to bring you some really tough stories, but these are stories that need to be told. So if you can help us, please do.
Statuscoup.live. By the way, for members, Status Coup members, reminder, we got our members call tomorrow night. So that's
I don't hear anybody.
That's going to be big tomorrow night. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 a month. Our members call is tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time. 7:30 Eastern time, and we will be talking to the peeps through Zoom. It's a lot of fun. We usually go about an hour or two. We will give you an update on the Flint story we're working on, and when we think that will be out. We will give you some other TMI and dirt on YouTube and others. I think we should change it to the TMI members call, because we typically share too much information, me particularly. So 7:30 Eastern tomorrow, I'd be there if I were you, and you can become a member, which is our main business model, statuscoup.com/join. So last thing I'll say about this Democratic autopsy, I don't want to hear a damn thing anymore from the Democrats about how terrible Republicans are, about how terrible, they're threatening our democracy, about, vote blue no matter who. You have shown us what we will get if you have full power, and it's temporary Band-Aids. So I'm not crying any tears if the Democratic Party gets wiped out in 2022. I know Republicans are terrible, but sorry, I held my nose and voted for Joe Biden to get rid of Trump. I'm not doing it again. I'm just not doing it again. If they're not going to push real policies that are going to help the masses structurally, then they get what they deserve, in my view. Thanks, little puppet. $10. Keep up the great work. I appreciate it. Super chats welcome, or go to statuscoup.live. Want to move on? You could hear me, Jen? Okay, you can't hear me. So I don't know what's going on, but I'll keep going. Okay. I'll keep going. So I want to bring up there's like tinges or a little bit of a deja vu from Standing Rock is going on right now in Minnesota. If you don't know, the Line 3 pipeline, which is an Enbridge pipeline, Enbridge, the company that is responsible for the biggest oil spill in American history, which happened in Michigan, Enbridge has been trying to do a replacement pipeline called Line 3. Because the existing pipeline is pretty damn old. So they are building a new pipeline. It starts in Canada, and it distributes the most dirty oil in the world from the tar sands of Canada, and it goes through Minnesota and other states to get to Wisconsin. And contrary to the corporate talking points and big oil talking points, it actually is for external exporting oil. It's not for American domestic use. So, as they did in Standing Rock, it is going through Native American reservations, threatening their water, their wildlife, sacred burial sites, among other things. So, Honor the Earth and other indigenous groups have rallied people to Minnesota for something called the Treaty Gathering, which they are actively protesting as the pipeline is being built. Right now, there's hundreds of people out there. I would have been out there, but I had 2 doctor's appointments this week one of them I've waited for a month to get. So it was kind of like, got to put my health first. So that doctor's appointment is tomorrow for my stomach, TMI. But we wanted to cover it. As they are protesting out there, wait till you see these videos. They are out there, indigenous people, fighting to stop this pipeline going through their reservation, their land, as per American treaties that have been discarded. Non-indigenous water protectors are there too. Colin, let's show them the first clips of helicopters, Department of Homeland Security and Border Control helicopters, literally flying at extremely low levels to try and clear away the water protectors. So you literally have Department of Homeland Security, Border Control, flying crazy low over indigenous protesters who I believe have a First Amendment right to protest, who are protesting against the pipeline like Standing Rock, going through their reservation, their water, their wildlife, their sacred burial grounds. And I don't know, Department of Homeland Security, Border Control. Trump's not president anymore. Obviously, they're doing this out in the open. Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, and the resistance cheered. But he hasn't shut down the Democratic Party. Democratic Party hasn't shut down. Has not shut down the Democratic. I keep saying that. Has not shut down the Dakota Access Pipeline. He has not shut down Line 3 pipeline. And now the Department of Homeland Security, which I believe is through the Biden, the Border Control, is literally essentially trying to threaten indigenous water protectors to not protest, and to not slow down construction. Colin, I wanted to show the other clips I sent you. So we showed you the helicopter. Now let's show you some of the other clips of how many people are there protesting. Ford Fisher, who's on the ground there with news to share from his Twitter live stream. And look at how many people are gathered there right now. It's really unbelievable. Kind of reminds me of Standing Rock back in 2016. And then let's go to that other clip, Colin, showing police, again, brutalizing indigenous and other water protectors. If you have that on the clip. One second. We're getting the hang of this new system here. All right, we're working on getting that clip. But Jen, if you could hear me now, honestly, like the media didn't cover President Obama allowing this crap to happen at Standing Rock. They're not going to cover this. But you have Biden, who, they had a working task force with Bernie and members of Bernie's campaign and Sunrise Movement, who I like Sunrise Movement, the climate activist, said, his climate plan is the biggest, is the most, the boldest plan we've had, even though it's totally insufficient. But now, same old, after stealing Native American land, now they're putting a pipeline through it, and basically Biden's goons are basically attacking Native Americans once again.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Obviously, you were at Standing Rock. You know how they covered Obama, and you know how Native Americans felt abandoned and still felt abandoned. And the fact that Biden is in office now and Trump is not means nothing. But the promises that Biden made mean nothing. We have these glimpses of hope, but in the end, it doesn't pan out. Joe Biden doesn't care. All that matters to these people, all that matters to these Democrats that are in office is the money. It all revolves around the money for these elected officials. And despite the fact that these oil pipelines, gas pipelines all over, including in Canada, go through sacred lands, go through people's homes, in some cases, I know we're talking about a very specific thing right now, but this happens all over the place. We reported a few years ago property that had been, this wasn't native land, but property that had been in a family for hundreds and hundreds of years, and through eminent domain it was allowed to be seized by an oil company. And so, speaking specifically about native land, this adds another layer, because it is sacred land. On top of it being their land, it is sacred land. And there's the added issue of remains. And the fact that Joe Biden, who's supposed to be, who according to liberals and, brunch Democrats, has this big old heart, and he's just Uncle Joe, and just such a nice man, with such a caring guy, good old Uncle Joe. The fact that he doesn't think about these things or care about these things is so stomach turning. And he truly doesn't. He cares about the money. He cares about the people who are going to put money in his pockets, and in the pockets of lobbyists, and in the pockets of the the Democrats he's trying to help get elected, and all of the lobbies surrounding that, and all of the companies surrounding that. So it's disgusting. And I see Paul asking, like, why isn't there more of an uproar? And I do wonder that sometimes. Standing Rock was something special for many, many reasons. One of the reasons was because it did get, a lot of attention. And Jordan, you were a big part of that. It didn't get anywhere near as much attention as it should have gotten, but it did get at least the progressive folks from around the country and even from some other countries to come and to care and to pay attention. But a lot of these other fights don't get anywhere near that level of attention. And this continues to happen. And Joe Biden is allowed to slip under the radar, allowing these oil companies, gas companies to desecrate these lands, and there are no consequences. I do think that, when it comes to Obama, Standing Rock was an anomaly because of that, because it got so much attention, and he still got away with it. It still didn't matter. Those dogs were still out there biting folks, and the rubber bullets were still, striking folks, and Native Americans were still losing their eyes, and you got hurt, Jordan, and just the way that people were treated got some attention. But now what? Now what? Joe Biden's going to get away with it even more, probably, and everyone's back at brunch.
La Chaka, $20. A road trip with status coup is a round trip ticket to justice. I love it. Thank you for the super chat. Dustin, $5. Every time I think about all your work, I feel like giving you money. Don't let it go to your head, though. I won't let it go to my head, but we really appreciate it because we need as much financial support as we could get right now. Stephanie, $5. Thank goodness for our activists spreading truth. Colin, I wanted to show that other image too. So let's show the image of police basically roughing up these protesters that are out there trying to stop Line 3. So same thing, similar grisly images that are going on there as we saw in 2016. And I have an answer, Paul, on why this doesn't get attention. Frankly, because the resistance was a faux resistance, and it was made up by suburban soccer moms, wine moms, and Democratic Party operatives who cashed in. And it was mostly heavily concentrated in New York, D.C., major urban cities with Elizabeth Warren type professional class voters who, frankly, doesn't mean they're racist, but are very disconnected and don't quite give a shit about the plight of Native Americans. And, to them, they go to brunch. And, if the climate's burning, so be it. Oh, if Native water's at risk, oh, too bad. Maybe we'll tweet about it once in a while. That's what's going on here. It doesn't help that the corporate media ignores it. Somebody asked in the chat, well, how does the federal government allowed to fly over their land? Don't they have doesn't the tribe have jurisdiction? The tribe should have jurisdiction over its land, but unfortunately, that's usually not the case. Usually not the case on these lands. And most of these pipeline projects, some of the pipeline goes through federal land, which in reality is native land, but goes through federal land. So they get away with flying wherever the hell they want. And they did this at Standing Rock too. You had the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, U.S. Marshals were surveilling the camp, flying over the camp, sending in moles to the camp. Moles that pretended to be water protectors, but were just looking for information to send back to the FBI and others. So this is, it's a long history. The FBI did this to Fred Hampton, the Black Panthers, civil rights leaders, feminist movement leaders, LGBT movement. So this is not their first rodeo, but it's a disgrace because if you are Joe Biden and you claim to want to restore the soul of the nation, well, the original sin of the soul of the nation was, we've talked about Israel and Palestine a lot, and Jenn has covered that a lot while I was on my honeymoon. Well, if you want to talk about an occupation, we're all occupiers here in America. I mean, Jen, I was actually I was at the Yankee game over the weekend with my brother, and honestly, I don't want to come off like anti-American, but even like standing for the U.S. flag, you know, the national anthem, kind of makes me a little sick, and it has since I went to Standing Rock, because you look around at the mostly drunk people at these sporting events, and there's no concept of this American greatness is built on genocide, rape, murder, kidnapping. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean there's not some goodness in America, but at the root, it's based on horrible, horrible things. And that has been completely papered over. And Biden talked about restoring the soul and all this nonsense, but you're just doing the same stuff that happened under Obama and Trump. Is he better in some regards than Trump? Yeah, but that's not good enough. For the problems we face, that's not good enough. And frankly, they should let these water protectors demonstrate. They should, if some of the water protectors are chaining themselves to machines or trying to destruct the pipeline, then they're making the choice, to potentially risk arrest, and that's fine. But flying helicopters over it, God knows what other surveillance is going on over there. It's completely, completely unacceptable. And I'm not holding my breath that the national media will cover it, but it's really disgusting, Jen.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's, we are, we're at a place where Native Americans are continuously mistreated and always have been. We are occupiers on their land. We're settlers on their land. They've never gotten, what they deserve. And that is their land. And so in the position we're in now, these years later, I think there's no easy answer, and I don't want to speak for anyone, but I think that the very least that we could do is stop the damage that we've already done. I think that, the most progressive president, this guy, since FDR, right? No, of course not. He's awful. But I would think that he, since all of these Democrats, all of these so-called progressives, someone the other day was saying, I don't even want to use the term progressive anymore because it's been totally co-opted by liberals. And that is absolutely the case. They're not doing a thing to care. They're not doing a thing to stop the bleeding. They're making it worse and worse and worse. And one of the ways that they are doing this is by continuing to take the lands of Native Americans, by continuing to desecrate these sacred sites. And it's not just with oil pipelines, it's also, private companies continue to do this. And so people can say all they want, oh, it's so, we're on stolen land and this and that and whatever. And I think that's good. It's great to acknowledge that, and it's important to acknowledge that. But it has to go beyond that. It has to go beyond sharing a tweet or like wearing a t-shirt or whatever. It has to, Joe Biden's feet need to be held to the fire. Why are people letting him do this? Why are members of Congress letting him do this? Why is nobody talking about this? Except for a few folks, a few media folks who are up there right now. I regret that we can't be up there right now. And why isn't this a huge national scandal that we're continuing to do this to Native Americans? We know how horribly we treated, or that the Native Americans were treated. We know that we stole their land and murdered their people and brought them disease. And by we, I mean European white people. And I don't know. it's really depressing to me, having been in DC. Obviously, there are certain areas that you walk around, the very touristy areas where, especially during the weekdays or whatever, it's a tale of two cities, really. So DC is, um, it's a very bougie in certain areas, and then so there's like the touristy areas, and then there's like the young professional, like yuppie areas, and then you have like the real areas of DC where like the different wards are a very a very different picture depending on who you are. Yeah, absolutely, colonizers. So all that is to say that those people are asleep. The yuppie like guys in suits and gals in suits and dresses and like going to their young professional jobs, and they're like the wealthy folks, the wealthy older white folks, like walking around minding their business, like glaring. Like as I'm covering these protests, it drives me insane when I'm covering these protests for Palestine or Black Lives Matter or whatever it is, just watching these white people, obviously, of which I am one, but watching these white people just walk past in their suits, like on their way to brunch, or like on their way to these high-end shops or whatever they're doing. And they just like glare as they walk by. They don't care. And those are Joe Biden voters, 100%, because that's what DC is. Like they're all Democrats. And those people don't give a crap about what's happening with line 3. They don't care about Standing Rock. They voted in Joe Biden. They felt good about it. They're off. They feel great about having that Trump is gone. They're happy about that. They probably went to the and I covered this when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. They probably went to that, and they probably cried about that, and they um, they probably went to like the Women's March and wore their pink pussy hat and felt like their rights were under fire. But they don't care. They don't know a thing about line 3. They don't know a thing about Standing Rock. Everything's fine in their world, and they walk right by and they don't care. And that drives me insane. And here we are.
Absolutely. And thank you for the GoFundMe donations, Lana and Jean. You guys could support us there too. Yeah, we'll keep covering what's going on there based on experience. Would not shock me if it gets a little worse over the next few days. I believe they're going to be protesting there today and tomorrow as well. And, it might go longer. We'll see. Right now, they have hundreds of people there. So definitely stay with us. We wish we could be there, but I couldn't. For a lot of reasons, including having an appointment, I couldn't move. I couldn't be there. And speaking of terrible law enforcement agencies, we just did the Department of Homeland Security. But Jen, you were busy over the weekend, weren't you?
I was indeed.
So Jen covered, you might have not seen it since YouTube's not showing us. Jen covered, Faint Signals from Vega just donated too, $5. Thank you, Faint.
Yay, thank you.
You covered a protest in DC, basically called for cutting the Metro police budget by 50%, but also the protests focused on the Fraternal Order of Police, which is the big police union that also buys off our politicians. So if you're wondering why politicians won't do anything about the police, check how much they get from the police unions. I know Governor Cuomo in New York gets a whole lot of money. So share with the audience, you stumbled across an old veteran of the Fraternal Order of Police, and that was quite the conversation, I'd say.
Yeah, so this protest was interesting. To kind of summarize the protest, which was quite long. It was The whole thing was probably 2.5 hours long, including this exchange with the former DC police officer, member of the Fraternal Order of Police. And the point of the protest was it was the defund MPD group. And so this group formed after George Floyd was murdered, and after, of course, the nationwide protests, and of course you all remember the insane moments when there were helicopters swooping down on DC protesters, when Trump had the whole protest area cleared with just horrific illegal tactics so that he could stand in front of that church, which is right by the White House, right by Lafayette Square, right by what is now Black Lives Matter Plaza, where he held that Bible upside down. That's right there. And so that this group was formed then. And so they have this whole list of demands that they have. So this group is active and still at it. And yeah, the numbers have diminished largely because white people are no longer out there with them. There were, you know, it was quite a great size march, but it, you know, certainly is not 10,000 anymore. And so marching for that, and also marching against the Fraternal Order of Police, because it's time to kind of re-up with them or renegotiate with them for the DC police, which is called MPD, the Metropolitan Police Department. So I was so exhausted by the end of this, and I was about to wrap up the live stream when I saw this gentleman come out of the FOP building, which is where the march had ended. And I thought to myself, that looks like a guy, because he wasn't in uniform. So I said, that looks like a guy I need to go interview. He just came out of the FOP building, not in uniform. I know the cops in uniform won't talk to me, but I think I can probably get him to talk, because you kind of get that feeling sometimes, you know, when you're in the field, and of who, you know, who can talk, who will talk and who won't. So I went over anyway and started to talk to him. And my plan was to start softish and then kind of go in for the kill, like kind of get him to open up a little bit and then ask increasingly tough questions. Well, that didn't really work because he immediately denied like the first or second or third, I don't remember which question it was, thing I said. And he just was completely detached from reality. And you'll see when Colin plays a bit of this, what I'm talking about. But it was the fact that police unions can negotiate to wipe disciplinary actions from police records so that they can be, you know, not let go, or so that it can be not like looked up, or so that they can be rehired by different police forces, whatever. And he was like, no, that doesn't happen. And he just didn't.
Why don't we play some of it so people can see?
Sure.
Let's play the clip, Colin.
I just want to know what the FOP's role is with the MPD. And, well, first of all, do you expect it to get re-upped, I guess, since it was kind of over in 2020 and they're kind of renegotiating? So that's my first kind of question.
They help the officers every day.
What's that?
They help the officers every day.
Right, but are they going to because they're up, they're kind of deciding if they're going to continue on.
I don't know what they're going to do. I'm retired.
Oh, you're retired, okay. So do you think the FOP is a good thing? What about in instances where I'm a journalist? I'm just asking you questions. I'm a journalist. So what about, I've been covering this event, so in cases where they say like the officers like records are wiped in instances like that.
No, you're thinking out the box now. Ain't no way in the world, ain't no way they would do that. No.
Where
they don't do that.
Well, in certain cases, in different.
No, certain cases, get that out your mind. Please stop thinking about that. They don't do stuff like that.
Well, where officers are able to be rehired on a different. Well, that is true. I have researched that. And
Well, print it.
okay, that's
They
literally
don't,
true.
They don't do that. Don't
No, that's literally true. Where the FOP, the union, allows the records to be wiped, and then officers are able to be
People
rehired.
have no type of power like that.
They do. The union negotiates.
No, they don't. I don't know where you get that from. You got to do a bit more journalism.
No, that is
No,
literally true.
And whoever you getting that from is not telling you the right thing.
They do, because
don't.
I was beaten just for simply recording protests last year. I was beaten by MPD for no
Who
reason.
was beaten by you?
I was.
You sure?
Yes.
You got it on film?
I was literally doing
You got
this.
it on film?
Yes, I do.
Well, let me see it.
Okay, I
me
can't. I'm
see
live
it.
right now, so I can't.
No, stop the live and let me see it.
I'm not going to stop the live. I was.
Yeah, let me see it, baby.
I go to Status Coup on YouTube, and you can find it.
Show it to me on your camera.
I am live, so I can't do that. You can find it though. Go to Status Quo on YouTube if you're interested.
And did nobody beat you up, baby?
Yes, they did. They did.
They did. They beat. I ain't even investigated.
No, you guys still have my reporting equipment. If someone would like to look for it for me.
Well, I'm sorry this happened to you.
That's what you gotta say.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank
That's
you.
what you
All
gotta
of us
say.
are not killers.
But
All of us
protesters had to pull me to
You know what I'm
safety.
saying?
This happened. It's not about me. This happened to so many black protesters, so many people of color. Protesters pulled me to safety. Protesters
That's
have been
good.
taking care of one another
That's good.
constantly. They're the ones who have water and snacks for each other. They take care of each other. They have medics. They attack the medics. My co-founder of Status Coup was arrested first for reporting. They arrest the legal observers first in St. Louis. This happens all over the country. Protesters have been taking care of.
Boy. That was something. Man, I'm glad I wasn't there. It wouldn't have ended well. I thought unfortunately, that guy reminds me of a lot of older black voters. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way. But, a lot of times, the older generation is honestly, it's not just black voters, just older people. Not everybody, because there's a lot of older progressives, don't want to antagonize my older voters, are just kind of complacent and have
Older progressives are my favorite people, by the way. Like they know what's up.
Right. Are kind of just complacent with corruption and injustice, and like, well, look at the small things, incremental change. And this guy, I mean, we've talked to police officers that will tell you horror stories, and even police officers I've talked to, not on camera but off camera, will tell you, yeah, it's out of control, and there's a lot of racism and things like that. So this guy, I don't know if he's just playing coy, or he's just really, really ignorant. But it's just humorous to me. I also love show me that you got attacked. It's like, no, I'm live. I can't show you. I can't show you on the thing. I can't show you on the device I'm live streaming from. And it's unbelievable. And this is kind of part of, and of course he was a police officer, but it kind of goes to show you the fetishizing of police that non-police people do, just Americans. The media fetishizes the police, and obviously veterans of the police, just close their eyes and pretend it's just they're being unfairly demonized, and the blue wall of silence and all this bullshit. But why does he think black people are out all across America? Do the shootings? Is that not happening? Is the cover-ups not happening? There's a massive cover-up going on in Louisiana that's not being covered anymore about Ronald Green. I believe in North Carolina, it's a cover up too of Andrew Brown. Laquan McDonald was a cover up. I mean, there's cover up after cover up after cover up where police departments are caught lying and nothing ever happens. But this guy's telling you, no, we're just being demonized. Give me a
Well,
fucking
yeah, his response to that is, well, MPD is great. We're so strict. And so my response to that was, well, I know an MPD officer, and he literally, like, when he doesn't feel like doing it, he just kicks the bullets away, so he doesn't have to do the paperwork on them. And he's just like, oh. And the thing about, before I showed him the video, he kept saying, well, what did you do to get attacked? And I was like, what? Nothing. What are you talking about? I'm a journalist. And the thing about that is he kept asking. And the thing about it is, what, even if I did do something, does that mean I need to be attacked, first of all? And second of all, why is that the first thing he says? Not like, oh, why would the DC police be attacking a journalist? His first thought is, oh, she must have done something, which I found to be striking. And then even when multiple times I kept like scrolling it back to the place where he could see it, and he still kept denying it. And finally he conceded. Like, I don't know if he truly did or was just tired of having the conversation or what, but that was completely bizarre. And then I don't know if Colin has it pulled up. If you do, Colin, play it. If not, that's okay. But the parts where I tell him, just like you're saying, Jordan, like, what about all of the corruption that's happening? What about all of this? What is your solution? And he kept saying, well, people should take it to the DC council. They should go take it to the government, take it to politics. And I kept saying, do you really think that's going to work? You know how corrupt DC is. And he was like, yeah, that's really corrupt. It's like, well, you know how corrupt it is. Why do you say that? And he didn't have any answer. And it was just, it was a very bizarre conversation, and one that I left not knowing if he truly, like, it kind of ended on a note of me saying, listen, please listen to the people who are out here protesting every single day. They're not out here, for their health. They're not out here for their own, like, self-interest. They're not out here to just antagonize you or whatever. They're out here because it's important. They're out here because Black people are being murdered constantly. And he, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think about his thoughts. If he just wanted to go, if he was just trying to appease me, or if maybe the wheels were turning. I have to have some kind of hope in humanity, so maybe, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that, listen, I'm all for these protests. We'll keep covering them, but I don't think anything's going to change until there's an economic component to these protests. I'm not, telling Black people how to do their protest. It's obviously Black-led, but you got the police unions paying off the politicians. You got the media basically doing police stenography most of the time, and you have essentially the defund the police propaganda from Republicans, and Democrats, giving woke signaling sometimes, but as Jen and I covered last week, the George Floyd bill has been watered down to the point where qualified immunity, which would getting rid of qualified immunity, would allow officers to be sued civilly. So a little deterrent to completely executing Black men for no reason. That's off the table. So until there's an economic pressure on this corrupt system as part of the protest, I don't see a lot of things changing, unfortunately.
Right.
But I thought you did a great job. And yeah, it's good to see you back in the field after being sick for so long.
Yeah, I have to say, I thank everyone for their kind words about saying, I'm glad to see Jenn back in the field. I truly thought at many moments, including very recently, that I would never be able to report in the field again. And very recently, I thought I'd never be able to live stream at all again. Um, so I'm grateful. I'm definitely not back up. I'm nowhere near 100%. Um, I'm grateful that I have good health care. I'm privileged that I have good health care. And, I'm under the care of Johns Hopkins, which I'm grateful and privileged. That's one of the best hospitals in the world. And they so happen to have one of the only long hauler COVID clinics in the world. So I'm lucky in so many ways. And I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, doing a live stream out in the heat for 2.5 hours, marching and stuff is very difficult, physically and mentally. And I'm just grateful, because being there, reporting on something like that, when I feel like, oh, I'm about to, I feel like I'm gonna drop on the ground. Not really. Like I would definitely, step to the side and stop the stream if that were the case. But when I feel much more tired than I normally would have been, under a healthier circumstance, I think to myself, this is important. There's nobody else here except, maybe another independent journalist or two. How else is this going to get out there if I'm not here? I'm here for a reason. Status Quo is here for a reason, and I'm grateful. So thank you, viewers, for making it possible for me to be out reporting. So thank you all.
Absolutely. And we will do this again tomorrow. I got some other reports coming up for our Substack. So once again, please sign up for our Substack. It's statuscoup.com, statuscoup.substack.com, statuscoup.substack.com. We appreciate all the folks who sign up paid, which is you could become a paid member for $5. But you could also sign up for free. Paid members, some posts will be just for paid members and other perks, but we're really trying, very, very aggressively to grow our Substack because, I mean, you see what's going on YouTube. Literally our likes have gone up, Jen, as our viewers have gone down, which isn't
Right?
even,
Isn't that,
which is even-
yeah.
it's not even possible. Like, it doesn't make sense. And every single email we have with YouTube, which now is the latest, is YouTube tells us, please send us visual proof of 3 subscribers who aren't getting notifications. And I'm like,
Right.
how do
How do we
you
do that?
send proof of something they're not getting? Like, it's crazy. And like, it doesn't make sense. I mean,
YouTube
literally,
is trolling us.
as I'm talking, the likes are going up. The likes have gone up as the viewership goes down. Like,
Thank you, Karen, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, they're making us prove a negative at YouTube. And yeah, it's bizarre.
yeah. And honestly, like, there's channels with, I think, like 14,000 subscribers that are getting like 1,000 views. Well, we have 118,000 subscribers getting, I think we were at 250 at one point. We're not trying to get a pity party, but we're telling you it's a direct attack on us, really. And it's a direct threat to us and independent media. So we need your support.
Oh my God, Dave, do that.
We need your support, financially if you can. But please, I mean, keep sharing, liking, reposting a new post when we're live. If you're in groups on Twitter, on Facebook, please tell people when we're live. We're talking to some other people about ways we could get around this. And yeah, it's frustrating, but as Jen says, we'll figure it out. But It also, is unfortunate because if we're going on a reporting trip, this is really important stuff we want to be showing you that no one else is covering. People facing evictions, losing their unemployment, other economic struggles due to COVID. We'll probably cover other things that come up while we're on the road. And obviously, if even our own subscribers can't see it, it's a problem. And I want to show you, Colin's showing that now. Go to the subscribe button. Colin, if you could show that again. Go to the subscribe button where you've subscribed, and next to it is the bell, the notification bell. I've had a lot of people tell me that they clicked all, but when they looked, it was not set to all. It was set to some or personalized. Make sure you go to the subscribe button, you hover over the bell, and click all notifications. I don't know why it's moving from all to some for a lot of subscribers, but we need you to do that little housekeeping note. Subscribe, the bell, all notifications, so that you're getting notified. Any other PSAs, Jen, before we go?
Dustin, sometimes 10 minutes. It depends. Yeah, just if you can go to statusquo.live at any time and help support us. Also, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., we're doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything Zoom call just for members. And yeah, it's really a lot of fun. And truly, with some limits, you can ask us all your burning questions, and we usually spill the beans on way too much. We have a Flynn story waiting in the wings. It's been waiting in the wings for months and months, not because of us, and it's really critical information that is against some pretty powerful, very powerful people. So we'll tell you some more info about that, and tell you some more about this road trip. I'll tell you some more about my DC reporting trip that I haven't yet. And yeah, a lot is happening. You have to be a member to get in on that. Yeah, 7:30 New York City time, Eastern time tomorrow PM. And also you get, I did a member video diary that I'll post just for members. You get access to our members only Discord chat. Lots of stuff that you get. So, and we also have additional plans for our members that we have yet to reveal, and I'm pretty excited about them. So I recommend you join. It's just $5 a month, which I know times are tough for a lot of folks. So no worries at all if you can't support, but membership is truly the backbone of Status Coup, because it's income that we can count on. And if we know that we can, if we know that we have this income every month, and then we can kind of rest a bit easier. Not really, that's not really the right terminology, but we know that we can continue our investigative and in-field reporting and yeah, and breathe a little bit easier and continue doing the hard work that we do. So we appreciate all of you. And yeah, go to gofundme.com/statuscoup, or on Cash App you can put in $status coup and support us at absolutely any amount, large or small. If you do have the funds, large would be very preferred, only if you do have the funds, because it truly does cost thousands for these infield trips, which is hard for us, and like really turns my stomach right now because to think about that. But it's important, and those stories need to be told. So yeah, that's, yeah.